The captain thanks Lu Fan and the formidable Black Dragon for saving them, acknowledging that their survival in this dangerous situation with Lai Lu is all due to Lu Fan's bravery and Xiao Ye's might. Just as they prepare to report back to the camp, they suddenly notice the dark energy of the fallen corpse dispersing into multiple directions. Lu Fan's eyes narrow as he watches the energy drifting toward the ominous blood moon. He realizes the gravity of the situation. This energy is crucial for understanding and potentially controlling the corpse's slaves. Letting dark supernatural energy roam free is not on Lu Fan's watch. Without a moment's hesitation, Lu Fan leaps toward the escaping energy, wielding his massive black mashi. With a swift and powerful slash, he captures the energy, obtaining the fallen corpse essence. As he holds the pulsing crystal in his hand, an uneasy feeling grips him. The crystal's effect is unknown, and he wonders if it is similar to the sacred mountain essence that Charles once obtained. Because when magical artifacts come with mysterious side effects, it is never a good sign. Lu Fan speculates that if the two essences are indeed the same, the fallen corpse essence might grant someone a hidden profession, but at a terrible cost. It could possess them, turning them into slaves to the dark will of the fallen corpse. A promotion that comes with eternal servitude is definitely not ideal. The captain, sensing the danger, expresses his concern, questioning whether it is safe for Lu Fan to carry such a perilous artifact. Despite his own unease, Lu Fan knows they cannot afford to be reckless. He considers the possibility that Charles may also be loyal to the ancient god. He resolves that they must act quickly. Turning to the captain, he insists they deliver the essence to the Duke for further investigation. Because dealing with ancient curses is serious business, and leaving it to chance is not an option. The captain turns to Lu Fan, suggesting that they wait for a moment before heading back to camp. Everyone watches as Shen Kai solemnly buries the body of her fiancé, Lai Lu. Seeing her grief, Lu Fan and the captain decide to help her with a difficult task. Together, they assist in the burial, each shovelful of dirt feeling like a small step in laying her sorrow to rest. When the grave is complete, Shen Kai stands over it, clutching her fiancé's necklace and weeping. She kisses the pendant, her tears falling onto the cold metal, and wonders aloud if everything she witnessed was merely an illusion. Lu Fan, always calm and reassuring, steps forward and gently tells her that it was all real. He assures her that Lai Lu truly did come back, even if only for a moment. Shen Kai, the strong and resilient woman she has always been, finally regains her composure. She wipes her tears, places her glasses back on, and announces to the captain that she is ready to move forward. Because even the toughest warriors have their moments, but they never stay down for long. The group treats her with quiet respect, acknowledging her grief but knowing she needs normalcy now more than ever. With that, the captain orders Team 78 to prepare for the journey back to camp. The scene shifts as time passes, and we find ourselves in the next afternoon. The group has returned, and inside a dimly lit room, the Duke examines the fallen corpse essence. He listens intently as Lu Fan fills him in on the details of the expedition. Lu Fan shares his hypothesis that becoming a servant of an ancient god comes with specific conditions. He explains that former Griffin squad members and various beasts only become corpse puppets, lacking any free will. The monsters, unable to become slaves, likely indicate a lack of intelligence, and the dead, similarly, cannot serve as slaves for the ancient god. However, Lu Fan points out that the servants, those who retain their thinking ability, are a different matter. He explains that someone like Lai Lu, who is fully controlled by the essence but still able to think, shows that becoming a servant instead of a mindless puppet involves a deliberate selection by the ancient god. The Duke listens intently, nodding as he pieces together what Lu Fan has explained. He realizes that simply possessing the fallen corpse essence isn't enough to become a corpse slave. One must also receive approval from the dark power itself. Lu Fan elaborates, pointing out that only sentient beings, those capable of independent thought, have the potential to become servants, because apparently, when it comes to cursing people, the ancient gods prefer quality over quantity. Even the Duke, usually composed, starts recalling rumors from the past few years. He remembers hearing whispers that over a dozen countries have reported strange cults forming within their borders. These cultists claim to be blessed by the gods and aggressively expand their influence, gathering masses of believers. They boast of great power and declare that their almighty deity will awaken soon, because nothing says we're totally normal like cults with a penchant for dramatic proclamations. If what Lai Lu said is true, the Duke realizes the grim reality. These cultists are either servants of the ancient gods or their devoted followers. But Lu Fan is even more worried. He points out that if over a dozen countries are involved, then there might be more than a dozen ancient gods preparing to awaken. And that, in case it isn't clear, is about as comforting as finding out your town is hosting a monster convention. Just then, as if struck by a lightning bolt of realization, Lu Fan's eyes widen. He urgently asks the Duke whether the camp is the only populated area in these far northern territories. The old man, catching on to Lu Fan's train of thought, agrees, because when even the Duke starts looking nervous, you know the news isn't good. Lu Fan, deep in thought, asks about the missing members of the Griffin squad who have not yet been found dead. His words carry a heavy implication, and as he speaks, the same dreadful realization strikes the Duke, because sometimes bad ideas like to hit everyone at the same time, just to spread the misery. The Duke understands that Lu Fan is suggesting a terrifying possibility. All the missing Griffin squad members may have already become fallen corpse slaves. If even a few of them managed to escape this region, the consequences would be dire. They would have no choice but to issue a bounty to track down and eliminate these threats. Not exactly the kind of reunion the Duke had in mind for his old brothers in arms. It's a painful truth, but even Lu Fan knows there is no other way. He acknowledges that those who have been possessed by the dark essence would likely understand why they must be stopped, even if it means being killed by former comrades. Turning his attention to the cursed essence in the Duke's possession, Lu Fan suggests they use it to test his hypothesis. The Duke, however, looks baffled. He cannot fathom how they could use such a dangerous item safely. Lu Fan explains his bold idea, to use the essence on a dragon. Because when in doubt, why not bring a dragon into the equation for maximum drama? Hearing this, the Duke's face turns red with fury. He angrily tells Lu Fan that the mere suggestion is absurd. There is no way they would experiment on any living being, not even a dragon. And really, the Duke's tone suggests that he's about 2 seconds away from launching into a lecture about ethical research practices. Despite the legendary Black Dragon being unaffected by the Blood Moon, the Duke fears that using the essence could still go catastrophically wrong. The potential consequences are too dire and cannot afford to take such a risk. But Lu Fan, ever calm and clever, reassures him. He explains that the Duke has misunderstood. The dragon he is referring to is Naksho Yai, his loyal pet. The Duke's jaw drops, his mind racing as he tries to comprehend what Lu Fan is suggesting. Because when Lu Fan starts getting mysterious, it's usually time to brace for something wild. Lu Fan and the Duke then make their way to the training ground. The Duke, still trying to wrap his head around Lu Fan's earlier proposal, brings up the time when he observed Lu Fan and Ruin sparring. From what he witnessed, it did not seem like Lu Fan had a total of 5 dragons. But before the Duke can go further, Lu Fan quickly interrupts, explaining that things are not quite as they seem. Among those 5 dragons, 2 are not actually his direct pets, but rather summons of the Emerald Dragon Lady Xiao Fei. Because when dragons start summoning other dragons, things get complicated faster than a soap opera plot. The Duke looks thoroughly baffled, and to be fair, who wouldn't be, as it starts to feel like a draconic family tree gone haywire. But Lu Fan, sensing the confusion, decides that a demonstration is the best way forward. He summons the Emerald Dragon Lady and gives her the order to call forth the twin Flying Dragon Kings. Without hesitation, the Emerald Dragon Lady obeys, and moments later, 2 enormous white dragons materialize, roaring with a ferocity that could shake mountains. The ground seems to tremble beneath them, and even the Duke, a seasoned warrior, cannot hide a flicker of nervousness as he looks at these mighty beasts. Because when 2 massive dragons suddenly appear, feeling a bit intimidated is perfectly reasonable. The Duke stands there, trying to process what he's seeing. It's almost laughable to think that the ultimate boss-level dragons he once thought so fearsome are actually just the summoned pets of another pet. It is like realizing that the so-called king of the jungle is actually someone's house cat on steroids. Lu Fan, however, is deep in thought. He considers the Flying Dragon Kings to be the weakest among his summoned creatures, so even if one of them were to transform into a fallen corpse slave, he and the Duke could easily handle it. And because these dragons are mere summons, Lu Fan points out that they can be resummoned after death without any permanent loss. Talk about an ideal test subject who knew disposable dragons were a thing. The plan seems perfectly logical to him, even if it feels a bit bizarre to everyone else. Finally, Lu Fan announces to the Duke that they are ready to begin the experiment. With confidence and perhaps a bit of reckless excitement, he orders the Emerald Dragon Lady to let one of the Flying Dragon Kings consume the fallen corpse essence. Because if you're going to feed a dragon cursed energy, you might as well do it with dramatic flair. Lu Fan hurls the essence right into the dragon's mouth, and as soon as the creature begins to chew, an ominous purple aura envelops it. The dragon roars in agony, his voice echoing across the training ground, sending shivers down everyone's spines. Even the Emerald Dragon Lady looks taken aback, her usual composure shattered. Because nothing says unexpected chaos quite like a dragon having a meltdown. The Duke, standing beside Lu Fan with wide eyes, immediately senses the danger. He orders Lu Fan to step back, alarmed as he realizes that the Flying Dragon King is transforming into a fallen corpse slave. The old man even starts preparing to slay the dragon, convinced that taking it down now is the only way to stop the impending disaster. But Lu Fan, with his typical mix of logic and optimism, quickly intervenes. He insists that killing the dragon now would be a colossal waste, because why settle for a problem solved when you can try a problem barely contained? Just as things seem bad enough, they get worse. To everyone's horror, as one of the flying dragon kings becomes possessed, the other starts succumbing to the same dark force. The Duke, now bordering on panic, urges Lu Fan to act immediately before it is too late. But Lu Fan refuses to let fear dictate their actions. Instead, he turns to the Emerald Dragon Lady, telling her that she is their only hope. He reminds her that, as the master of these dragons, she must fight back and reclaim control from the ancient god's influence. Gathering her resolve, the Emerald Dragon Lady begins casting Emerald Light, her signature ability. The glowing light envelops the flying dragon kings, removing all debuffs and increasing their attributes by 30%. Because when your dragons are on the verge of turning evil, giving them a magical power boost is apparently the way to go. The light pulses around the dragons, strengthening them to resist the ancient god's control. Lu Fan realizes that the Emerald Dragon Lady must continuously cast the spell to fend off the possession. The Duke, however, remains skeptical, eyeing the dark purple aura that refuses to dissipate. Because when cursed energy doesn't vanish, it's hard not to feel like things are about to go from bad to catastrophic. Then, without warning, one of the flying dragon kings breaks free from the effects of emerald light. It roars ferociously, and the dark energy around it intensifies as if mocking their efforts to contain it. Because, of course, dragons never make things easy. The Emerald Dragon Lady, now absolutely furious, glares at the rebellious twin flying dragons with an intensity that could make even the bravest creature feel like a misbehaving puppy. Determined to put an end to the chaos, she channels every ounce of her energy into the emerald light, her aura blazing as dust and smoke whirl around her. The force she exerts is so intense that even Lu Fan stands there, wide-eyed and shocked as he witnesses this incredible display of power. Because it's not every day that a dragon lady gets this ticked off. As the dust and smoke finally settle, Lu Fan and the Duke hold their breath, bracing for the worst. But instead of seeing the dragons turn into mindless fallen corpse slaves, they are greeted with a different outcome. The flying dragon kings have not fallen to the ancient god's control. Instead, they have absorbed the ancient god's power, but still managed to retain their own consciousness. Talk about a lucky break, like discovering your cursed potion actually gives you superpowers. The dragons now stand transformed, having become fallen corpse demon dragons of level 22. Their elemental dragon breath has mutated into demon dragon breath, and they are imbued with new abilities, Demon Dragon Charge and the Demon Dragon Bloodline. Because why just have dragons when you can have supercharged, demon-breathing dragons? The Emerald Dragon Lady, exhausted but victorious, finally descends to the ground. She has successfully reclaimed her dragons from the grip of the ancient god. Lu Fan steps forward, a proud smile on his face, and praises the Emerald Dragon Lady for her incredible effort. Even the Duke, still recovering from the shock, admits that Lu Fan's theory was spot on. Using the fallen corpse essence indeed drew the ancient god's power, but somehow, the Emerald Dragon Lady managed to halt the dark transformation and save the dragons. He turns to Lu Fan, thanking him for stopping him earlier. Had he acted hastily, he would have destroyed the dragons without considering the consequences, and really no one wants that on their conscience. Meanwhile, Lu Fan feels a bit smug, knowing that he now has an advantage. Both dragons have gained immense power from the essence, making them even more formidable. Because, as it turns out, accidentally giving your dragons a power boost is one of the better outcomes in the chaos of magic and curses. The Emerald Dragon Lady, still full of adrenaline and relief, immediately wraps Lu Fan in a big, grateful hug. Because when your dragons don't turn into mindless monsters, hugging the hero who saved them feels like the only logical response. Lu Fan, though momentarily flustered, grins and tells the Duke that he can't wait to test out the new abilities of the fallen corpse demon dragons. He is practically buzzing with excitement, eager to see what these powerful new skills can do. With the tension easing, Lu Fan requests that the Duke resume Squad 78's mission, which had been put on hold due to all the chaos. The Duke, who has now seen enough proof that both the ancient god's minions and the cursed essence are real, agrees. Because nothing says mission time like surviving a near disaster with upgraded dragon allies. The Duke adds now that the ancient god minions and the ancient god essence have both been validated, only thing that remains in dark is the ancient ruins. Lu Fan turns back and realizes that the temple ruins are exactly the spot where he wants to go. The next morning, Lu Fan soars through the sky with the other members of the Griffin Squad, and let's be real, flying over an ancient snow-covered landscape is much cooler than any mundane commute. As they near the temple ruins, Lu Fan briefs the team. He explains that the ruins Lai Lu mentioned and the Golden Light Temple discovered by the Star-Spangled Nation are actually the same thing, and to truly understand the ancient god's awakening, they need to find this hidden place. However, just as he finishes, a notification pops up, informing him that he's approaching the marked location on his divine-level treasure map. Excitement ripples through him as he knows he's going to get his jackpot today. Just then, Shen mentions that they are about to leave the harsh blizzard zone. She can't hide her curiosity, wondering what secrets lie ahead. As they fly out of the snowstorm, they are greeted by an entirely new landscape, one so breathtaking that even Changkong can't believe they're still in the far north. A massive lake sprawls before them, so vast it looks like an ocean. The sky above is clear and brilliant, a welcome change from the icy storms they've grown used to. The captain, impressed but ever practical, orders the squad to find a place to land and set up camp. As they descend, he notices something unusual beneath the ice. Enormous chains stretching across the frozen expanse, their ends vanishing into the depths. He speculates that following these chains might lead them to the temple ruins mentioned in their mission. Because when ancient, mysterious chains are involved, they're either guarding something incredible or something horrifying, or both. But before anyone can start exploring, Lu Fan suddenly bolts off in another direction. A notification alerts him that he has arrived at the treasure map's marked spot. Sprinting through the snow, he finally reaches the location and looks down, his eyes widening with astonishment. There, half buried in the snow, lies a dragon egg, a blue one, shimmering with an otherworldly glow. The egg emanates a strange feeling, almost as if it holds the power of space and time itself. And that was it for today. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button, as today's like goal is 1,500 likes. Comment part 6 down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. You can also join the channel to support me financially and watch videos before public release. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.